Months passed, and the exchange program between humans and the Vryn blossomed into something greater than anyone had anticipated. What started as a cautious experiment in coexistence grew into a thriving partnership, with both species learning to appreciate each other's strengths and quirks. On Earth, people marveled at the ingenuity of Vryn technology, while on the Vryn homeworld, citizens were captivated by humanity's creativity and resilience. Alan, Lisa, and Mike became symbols of this newfound unity. Their efforts inspired countless others to reach across the divide, fostering connections that extended far beyond politics or science. Schools began teaching about the Vryn, and children drew pictures of insectoid aliens holding hands with humans under a shared sky. Meanwhile, Vryn artists created sculptures and songs inspired by their time on Earth, celebrating the beauty of collaboration. Krallis played a pivotal role in solidifying this bond. Under his leadership, the Vryn fleet shifted its focus from defense to exploration, working alongside human scientists to unlock mysteries of the universe. Together, they launched joint missions to study distant stars, map uncharted planets, and search for signs of other intelligent life. Each discovery brought them closer, proving that cooperation yielded results neither species could achieve alone. One evening, during a celebration marking the one-year anniversary of the exchange program, Krallis addressed a gathering of humans and Vryn aboard the mothership. The chamber was alive with music, laughter, and the hum of conversation in 2 languages. Holographic displays showcased achievements made possible by their alliance, new energy sources, medical breakthroughs, and advancements in space travel. Tonight, Krallis began, his voice warm and steady. We honor not just what we have accomplished, but what we have become, a united front against ignorance and fear. Our journey has only begun, but already we see the fruits of our labor. Alan stood beside him, raising a glass filled with sparkling liquid, an Earth tradition Krallis had grown fond of. To friendship, he said, smiling at the crowd, and to a future where we continue to learn from each other. The room erupted in cheers, accompanied by the clicking sounds of Vryn applause. Lisa wiped away a tear, overwhelmed by how far they had come. Even Mike, who once doubted the feasibility of peace, grinned widely as he clinked his glass against a Vryn ambassador's claw-like appendage. But the road ahead wasn't without challenges. There were still those among the Vryn, and even some on Earth, who questioned the wisdom of such close ties. Skeptics argued that reliance on another species could lead to vulnerability, while others feared cultural identity might be lost in the blending of traditions. Yet these voices grew quieter with each passing day, drowned out by the growing chorus of hope and progress. As the celebration wound down, Alan found himself standing outside the ship, gazing at the glowing blue orb of Earth below. Krallis joined him, his towering form casting a shadow in the dim light. "What happens next?" Krallis asked, his tone thoughtful. Alan shrugged slightly. "We keep going. We face challenges together, just like we always have. There's no roadmap for this, but I think that's what makes it special." Krallis nodded slowly. "You're right. Perhaps the greatest lesson we've learned is that uncertainty isn't something to fear. It's an opportunity to grow." In the distance, a shooting star streaked across the sky, leaving a trail of light in its wake. It was a reminder of how small yet significant their efforts were in the vastness of space. Humanity and the Vryn were no longer strangers. They were allies, bound by trust, curiosity, and a shared vision of a brighter tomorrow. As they returned to the festivities, Alan felt a quiet confidence settle over him. The journey had been long and fraught with obstacles, but every step had been worth it. For the first time in history, 2 vastly different species had chosen understanding over fear, connection over division. And somewhere in the cosmos, another civilization watched silently, waiting to see if the story of humans and the Vryn would inspire them to reach out too. With Krallis firmly in control of the Vryn fleet, the path toward lasting peace seemed more attainable, but far from guaranteed. The rebellion had been quelled, yet whispers of discontent still lingered among certain factions. Krellis knew that maintaining unity required constant effort, and he turned to humanity for help. Together, they devised a bold plan, an exchange program designed to foster deeper understanding between their species. The idea was simple but revolutionary. A select group of humans would visit the Vryn homeworld, while a delegation of Vryn would travel to Earth. Both sides would immerse themselves in each other's cultures, learning firsthand about their differences and similarities. For Alan, Lisa, and Mike, this marked a new chapter in their journey, one filled with excitement, uncertainty, and the hope of bridging worlds. Preparations began almost immediately. Scientists, diplomats, and cultural experts from both species collaborated to ensure the exchanges would go smoothly. Lisa took charge of organizing the human delegation, carefully selecting individuals who represented diverse backgrounds and skill sets. Among them were teachers, artists, engineers, and even a chef known for her ability to adapt recipes to suit unusual tastes. Mike groaned when he heard about the chef's inclusion. Great. Now we're sending alien spicy food as ambassadors. Lisa shot him a playful glare. She's adaptable, Mike. Besides, variety is key if we want to make a good impression. Meanwhile, Alan worked closely with Krellis to prepare the Vryn visitors for life on Earth. Through transmissions, they shared information about human customs, social norms, and potential challenges the aliens might face. Krellis assured Alan that his people were eager to learn, though some expressed concerns about adapting to Earth's gravity and atmosphere. "Don't worry," Alan said during one conversation. "We'll take care of everything. Just focus on keeping an open mind." When the day of the exchange finally arrived, emotions ran high on both sides. The human delegation gathered at the research facility, where a sleek Vryn shuttle awaited them. As they boarded, Lisa felt a mix of nerves and exhilaration. "This is it," she whispered to Alan. "No turning back now." Alan nodded, gripping her shoulder reassuringly. "We've got this. Remember why we're doing this, for everyone back home." On the other side of the galaxy, the Vryn delegation touched down in a remote desert location chosen for its security and isolation. Their arrival drew gasps of awe from the small crowd gathered to welcome them. Children waved brightly colored flags, while adults held up signs written in both English and the Vryn language. One sign read simply, "Welcome to Earth." Over the following weeks, the exchanges unfolded with surprising success. On the Vryn homeworld, the human delegation marveled at towering crystalline cities, bioluminescent forests, and advanced technology that seemed almost magical. They participated in local festivals, shared meals with Vryn families, and even joined in traditional dances, though moving gracefully in low gravity proved challenging for many. Back on Earth, the Vryn visitors adapted quickly to their surroundings. Thanks in part to the careful planning of Alan and his team, they explored bustling cities, hiked through lush forests, and experienced human traditions like music concerts and sporting events. One particularly memorable moment occurred when a curious Vryn ambassador tried playing a guitar, eliciting laughter and applause from the crowd. Despite occasional misunderstandings, the exchanges strengthened bonds between the two species. Stories of shared experiences spread rapidly, inspiring hope and curiosity on both sides. People began imagining a future where cooperation replaced fear, a future where humanity and the Vryn could thrive together. One evening, as the sun set over the desert, Krellis stood beside Alan, watching the Vryn delegation interact with their human hosts. "This is what I envisioned," he said softly. "A world where our differences enrich us instead of dividing us." Alan smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. "It's not perfect, but it's a start. And sometimes that's all you need." As the stars emerged above them, casting a gentle glow over the scene, it became clear that this was more than just an experiment in diplomacy. It was a testament to the power of trust, courage, and the unyielding belief that even the most unlikely friendships could change the course of history. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on the team. Alan paced the room, thinking hard. We need to send something, something undeniable, something that proves peace isn't just possible but necessary. An idea struck Lisa suddenly. What if we show them Earth's history, not just the wars and struggles, but how we've overcome them? How we've learned to work together despite our differences. Mike raised an eyebrow. You mean like a highlight reel of humanity's greatest hits? Exactly, Lisa replied, her eyes lighting up. We'll focus on moments of unity, times when nations set aside conflicts to solve problems bigger than themselves. It might remind them that progress always comes from working together. The team dove into the project with renewed energy. They compiled videos, images, and narration detailing humanity's journey toward collaboration. From the signing of peace treaties to international efforts in space exploration, the presentation painted a hopeful picture of what could be achieved when divisions gave way to partnership. When the final product was ready, they transmitted it to the Vrin fleet. The response came faster than expected. Messages poured in from ordinary Vrin citizens, expressing gratitude and admiration for humanity's resilience. Even some skeptics admitted the presentation had shifted their perspective. Meanwhile, Krallis used the momentum to rally support among his people. With evidence of humanity's potential firmly in hand, he confronted the rebellious faction. In a dramatic showdown aboard the mothership, he appealed directly to those who doubted him. You claim to act in our best interest, he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. But your actions would lead us back to fear and isolation. Is that truly what you want for our future? The rebels faltered, their resolve shaken by the growing tide of public opinion. One by one, they stepped down, leaving Krallis firmly in control. As news of the victory reached Earth, Alan allowed himself a rare moment of relief. It's not over yet, he said, looking at Lisa and Mike. But I think we've turned a corner. Lisa smiled softly. For the first time, I believe we actually have a chance. And so, the fragile alliance held. For now, challenges lay ahead, but the seeds of trust had been planted. Both humans and Vrin were learning that sometimes the hardest battles weren't fought with weapons, but with understanding. In the days following the interstellar feast, a wave of change swept through both Earth and the Vrin fleet. News of the successful event spread quickly, fueled by recordings shared openly between the two species. On Earth, media outlets buzzed with excitement, replaying footage of Alan, Lisa, and Mike laughing and conversing with their alien counterparts. For the first time, humanity saw the Vrin not as faceless invaders, but as individuals capable of curiosity, humor, and even friendship. Among the Vrin, reactions were more varied. Many embraced the idea of peaceful coexistence, inspired by the warmth and sincerity displayed during the feast. However, pockets of resistance remained. Some factions, still loyal to Sixer's ideals, viewed Krallis's leadership as weak and reckless. They argued that trusting humans was a dangerous gamble, one that could jeopardize the survival of their species. Krallis faced these challenges head-on, determined to maintain the fragile progress they had made. He addressed his people directly, broadcasting a message across the fleet and back to the Vrin homeworld. Change is never easy, he began, his voice steady and calm. But clinging to fear will only lead us down a path of destruction. Humanity has shown us they are not our enemies. Together, we can achieve far more than we ever could alone. His words resonated deeply with many, but dissent simmered beneath the surface. A group of high-ranking officers, emboldened by lingering doubts, began plotting against him. Their goal was clear: overthrow Krallis and restore Zixer, or someone like him, to power. Back on Earth, Alan, Lisa, and Mike monitored developments closely. Though the immediate threat of war had diminished, they knew tensions could flare up again at any moment. The team worked tirelessly to reinforce the bonds forged during the feast, organizing regular transmissions to share updates about life on Earth. These broadcasts included everything from cultural performances to scientific advancements, painting a vivid picture of humanity's complexity. One evening, as the team reviewed feedback from the latest transmission, Lisa noticed something unusual. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a spike in communication activity near the edge of the solar system. "It's coming from one of the outer ships in the Vryn fleet. Something big is happening out there." Alan frowned, leaning closer to examine the data. Could it be another attack? Mike shook his head. Maybe. Or maybe it's just them regrouping. Either way, we should keep an eye on it. Their suspicions deepened when Krallis sent an urgent message later that night. His usual composure was replaced by visible concern. "Humans. Trouble brews within my ranks. A faction opposed to peace is gathering forces. If they succeed, all we've built may crumble." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. "What can we do to help?" Krallis hesitated before responding. "Your continued outreach matters now more than ever. Show my people, and mine alone, that cooperation benefits us all. But beware. If conflict arises, stay safe. Do not involve yourselves directly." The idea of hosting a feast aboard the Vryn ship was both exciting and nerve-wracking for Alan, Lisa, and Mike. While they were eager to strengthen the fragile bond between humans and the Vryn, the thought of stepping into alien territory filled them with unease. Still, they knew this was an opportunity they couldn't pass up. Krallis provided detailed instructions on how to prepare for the event. He assured them that safety measures would be in place and promised to personally oversee every detail. "Trust is a two-way path," he said during one transmission. "We must show our people, and yours, that cooperation is possible." With Krallis's guidance, the team began planning the menu. This time, they focused on simplicity, choosing foods that were unlikely to cause adverse reactions. Fresh fruits, vegetables, and mild dishes dominated the list. Lisa insisted on including a variety of flavors to showcase human creativity, while Mike joked about bringing packets of instant noodles as a backup plan. "We're not exactly master chefs here," he said, eyeing the growing stack of recipes. "What if we mess something up again?" Lisa rolled her eyes. "Relax, Mike. We'll test everything beforehand. Besides, it's not just about the food. It's about showing we're willing to meet them halfway." As the day of the feast approached, the team received unexpected assistance from scientists and chefs around the world. People sent ideas, recipes, and even pre-cooked samples to ensure the meal would represent humanity's diversity. The global effort reminded Alan of the unity they had witnessed earlier, a reminder that Earth was capable of coming together when it mattered most. Finally, the morning of the event arrived. Dressed in simple yet professional attire, Alan, Lisa, and Mike boarded a small shuttle provided by the Vryn. As the craft ascended toward the massive mothership looming above Earth, all three felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. Through the window, they marveled at the ship's intricate design, its surface shimmering like liquid metal under the sunlight. Upon arrival, they were greeted by Krallis and a group of Vryn officers. Unlike their previous encounters, the atmosphere felt warmer, almost welcoming. Krallis extended a claw-like hand in greeting, mimicking the human gesture Alan had used during their first meeting. "Welcome aboard," Krallis said through his translator device. "Today marks a new chapter for both our species." The feast took place in a vast chamber illuminated by soft, glowing lights. Long tables stretched across the room, adorned with decorations inspired by both Earth and Vryn culture. Holographic displays projected images of Earth's landscapes alongside scenes from the Vryn homeworld, creating a harmonious blend of the two civilizations. As the meal began, Alan and Lisa introduced each dish, explaining its origins and significance. They encouraged the Vryn guests to ask questions and share their thoughts. To everyone's relief, the food was well received. Some Vryn sampled cautiously at first, but others quickly grew bolder, trying multiple dishes and expressing curiosity about human culinary traditions. Mike, seated near a particularly adventurous Vryn officer, couldn't resist cracking jokes. "Careful with that salad. It might make you emotional," he teased, earning a series of clicks that sounded suspiciously like laughter. Throughout the evening, conversations flowed freely. Both humans and Vryn shared stories about their cultures, histories, and hopes for the future. For many Vrin, it was their first real interaction with humans outside formal negotiations. The experience challenged preconceived notions and fostered genuine connections. By the end of the feast, the mood had shifted dramatically. Where there had once been suspicion and fear, there was now understanding and camaraderie. Krallis stood to address the gathering, his voice filled with pride. "Tonight proves that differences need not divide us," he declared. "Together, we can build a future where peace triumphs over conflict." Elan raised a glass, or rather, a translucent Vrin container filled with sparkling liquid, and echoed the sentiment. "To friendship," he said, smiling warmly. As the humans prepared to leave, Krallis pulled Alan aside. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "There will be challenges ahead, but I believe we are ready to face them, together." Alan nodded, feeling a renewed sense of hope. Despite the uncertainties, he knew they had taken a crucial step forward. Humanity and the Vrin weren't just strangers anymore. They were allies, bound by a shared vision of a better tomorrow. Krallis explained that many Vrin still harbored doubts and suggested organizing a reciprocal event, an interstellar feast hosted aboard their ship. "Let us show our people that humans are not a threat. Together, we can build trust." Lisa grinned, already imagining the possibilities. "We'll make it happen." As preparations began, Mike muttered under his breath, "Just don't let them serve anything spicy this time." Despite the lingering challenges, there was a sense of cautious optimism. For the first time, humanity and the Vrin stood on the brink of true connection, a fragile but hopeful beginning forged through courage, determination, and a shared desire for peace. The rebellion aboard the Vrin ship began quietly, like a crack forming in solid ice. Krallis, emboldened by the growing dissent among his people, took the first step. He gathered a small group of like-minded officers who shared his belief that humanity deserved a chance. Together, they formed a secret alliance, determined to prevent Zixer from escalating tensions into outright conflict. "We cannot let fear dictate our actions," Krallis said during one of their covert meetings in a secluded corner of the ship. His voice was low but firm, resonating with quiet conviction. "If Commander Zixer orders an attack, we must intervene." One of the officers, a cautious but loyal Vrin named Trelk, hesitated. "And if we fail?" "Treason carries severe penalties." Krallis's antennae twitched slightly, betraying his nerves, but his resolve didn't waver. "Then we accept the consequences. Our duty is to protect our people, not lead them into unnecessary war." As the rebellion gained momentum, Zixer grew increasingly paranoid. He tightened security protocols and demanded constant updates on human activity. But despite his efforts, cracks in his authority continued to widen. More and more Vrin began questioning his leadership, especially after seeing the global displays of peace organized by Earth's inhabitants. The images of humans singing, dancing, and sharing stories left a lasting impression, challenging long-held beliefs about humanity's supposed savagery. Back on Earth, Alan, Lisa, and Mike monitored the situation closely. They noticed changes in the Vrin ship's movements. It no longer hovered menacingly, but instead seemed to drift aimlessly, as though its crew was divided. Alan interpreted this as a sign that their message was having an effect. "They're struggling internally," he told Lisa one evening as they reviewed data in the lab. "This could be our best chance to push for peace." Lisa nodded, her eyes reflecting both hope and worry. "But what if Zixer refuses to back down? What then?" Mike chimed in from across the room, where he was tinkering with some equipment. "We fight fire with kindness. Keep showing them we're not monsters." Alan smiled faintly at Mike's words. "Exactly. Let's keep building trust. If we can reach even a few more Vrin, it might tip the scales." The team decided to send another message, this time directly addressing the concerns of ordinary Vrin citizens. Using footage collected from around the world, they created a heartfelt video featuring children, elders, scientists, and artists, all speaking sincerely about their hopes for coexistence. At the end of the video, a young girl held up a drawing of Earth and the Vrin ship side by side, saying simply, "We want to be friends." When the message reached the Vrin fleet, it sparked an uproar. Some dismissed it as propaganda, but others found themselves deeply moved. Among those affected was Trelk, who had initially doubted Krallus's plan. Watching the video, he felt a shift within himself, a realization that humanity wasn't so different from his own kind. "This changes things," Trelk admitted during their next meeting. "If we don't act now, we may lose our chance at peace forever." Encouraged by the growing support, Krallus devised a bold strategy. With the help of his allies, he staged a carefully orchestrated coup. Late one night, while Zixer was distracted by yet another futile attempt to rally his troops, Krallus and his group seized control of the ship's command center. It was a tense and chaotic operation, but they succeeded in neutralizing Zixer without bloodshed. Once in charge, Krallus immediately sent a transmission to Earth. The screen flickered to life in the research facility, revealing Krallus standing tall, flanked by his supporters. His voice carried a newfound confidence as he addressed Alan and his team. "Humans, I bring news of change. Zixer has been removed from power. We seek to establish a new relationship with your species, one built on understanding and cooperation." Alan exhaled sharply, relief washing over him. "Krallus, you've done what we couldn't." "Thank you." Krallus inclined his head slightly. "The road ahead will not be easy, but it is necessary. My people need proof that peace is possible. Will you meet us halfway?" Without hesitation, Alan replied, "Absolutely. Tell us what you need." Lisa nodded, her eyes bright with determination. "Maybe they're starting to see us as individuals instead of just a potential enemy." Mike raised an eyebrow. "Or maybe they're planning their next move. Let's not get too cozy just yet." Despite the lingering uncertainty, the team couldn't ignore the shift in atmosphere. Reports trickled in from other parts of the world, describing similar observations. People claimed to have seen strange lights in the sky, accompanied by feelings of calm rather than fear. Even skeptics admitted something significant was happening. Then, one morning, the facility's alarms blared once more. The screen flickered to life, revealing Krallus. His expression was urgent but hopeful. "Humans, your message has sparked change. My people are divided, but many now doubt the call for war. Commander Zixer grows desperate to maintain control." "What happens next?" Alan asked, leaning forward. Krallus hesitated before responding. "He plans to escalate. If he cannot convince our people of your hostility, he may act directly against you. You must prepare." The room fell silent as the weight of Krallus's warning sank in. Lisa broke the silence first. "What can we do? We've done everything we can to show we're peaceful." Alan stood, his face set with resolve. "We keep proving it. Every action we take matters. If Zixer wants to paint us as dangerous, we'll show him, and his people, that he's wrong." As the hours passed, the team brainstormed ways to reinforce their message. They decided to organize another event, a global display of unity. Cities around the world lit up with messages of peace, projected onto buildings and broadcast online. Songs, dances, and stories from different cultures filled the airwaves, all sent toward the stars. Krallus watched these efforts from aboard the ship, his heart swelling with admiration. "Perhaps there is hope after all," he whispered to himself. Unbeknownst to everyone, Zixer's grip on power was beginning to weaken. As more Vrin turned against him, whispers of rebellion grew louder. Humanity's fate hung precariously in the balance, but for the first time, there was a glimmer of light in the darkness. The days following the broadcast were tense and uncertain. The team at the research facility waited anxiously for any sign that their message had made an impact. Alan spent hours staring at the monitors, hoping for a response from the Vrin. Lisa worked tirelessly to refine their systems, ensuring they were ready for whatever came next. Mike, usually the skeptic, surprised everyone by staying late each night. helping with minor repairs and offering quiet support. "I'm just here to make sure we don't accidentally start World War III," he joked one evening, though his tone lacked its usual sarcasm. Deep down, even he understood how critical this moment was. Meanwhile, aboard the Vryn ship, chaos brewed. The broadcast had spread far beyond Earth's orbit, reaching not only the scout vessel, but also the larger fleet stationed nearby. And eventually, the Vryn homeworld itself. Images of Earth's landscapes, sounds of human voices, and explanations of the dinner incident flooded their communication networks. For many Vryn citizens, it was their first real glimpse into human life, unfiltered by their leaders' biases. Krallis watched as the reactions poured in. Some Vryn dismissed the message as propaganda, convinced it was a trick. Others, however, found themselves moved by the sincerity in the human's words. A child's laughter echoed through the speakers, followed by a simple statement, "We just wanted to share." It was a phrase that resonated deeply with those who heard it. Back on Earth, the team received their first sign of progress when a new transmission came through. This time, it wasn't from Zixer or his inner circle, but from a group of lower-ranking Vryn officers. Their message was brief but encouraging. "Your words have reached us. Many believe you are truthful. We will try to help." Alan felt a surge of hope. "It's working," he said aloud, though no one needed to be told. The tension in the room lifted slightly, replaced by cautious optimism. But the road ahead was still fraught with challenges. Zixer remained unconvinced, clinging to his suspicions. He called an emergency meeting aboard the ship, demanding answers from his crew. "How could you allow this message to spread?" he snapped, his voice sharp with anger. "Our people must not be swayed by such manipulations." One of the ambassadors spoke up hesitantly. "Commander, perhaps we should consider the possibility that they are sincere. Their actions align with their words. They've shown no aggression, only attempts to communicate." Zixer glared at him but said nothing. The debate continued, dividing the crew into factions. Some sided with Zixer, determined to see humans as a threat. Others, influenced by the broadcast, began questioning their leader's stance. On Earth, the team noticed subtle changes in the Vryn ship's behavior. Instead of maintaining a strict orbit, the vessel began moving closer to the planet, almost as if observing humanity more closely. Alan pointed this out during one of their nightly discussions. "They're watching us again, but differently this time. It's like they're trying to understand us better." Alan leaned closer to the monitor, his heart racing. "Krallis, we mean no harm. Everything we did was to show friendship. Can you help us explain that to your leaders?" Krallis hesitated, his antennae twitching nervously. "It will not be easy. Trust is fragile among my kind, especially now. But I can share information with you, details about our fleet. They prepare for conflict, convinced that your species poses a threat." Lisa gasped softly. "Conflict? They're planning to attack us?" Krallis nodded slowly. "Yes, unless you can change their minds, war is inevitable." The room fell silent as the weight of his words sank in. Mike broke the silence first, his usual sarcasm replaced by grim determination. "Well, this just got real. What's the plan, boss?" Alan took a deep breath, thinking quickly. "We need to show them the truth. If we can broadcast our message, not just to their ship, but to all of their people, they might see we're not enemies." "But how?" Lisa asked. "We don't have the technology to reach their homeworld." Krallis tilted his head slightly. "I can assist. There is a way to amplify your signal using our communication array. It would allow your message to spread across the stars. However, it is risky. If my superiors discover what I am doing, I will face severe consequences." "We won't let that happen," Alan promised firmly. "If you're willing to take the risk, so are we." Over the next few hours, Krallis guided the team through the process of syncing their systems with the Vryn ship's array. It was painstaking work, requiring constant adjustments and recalibrations. Lisa handled the technical side, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she matched frequencies and encrypted data. Mike monitored power levels, ensuring they didn't overload the equipment. Alan focused on finalizing the content of the broadcast, making sure every word and image conveyed peace and understanding. Finally, everything was ready. The team gathered around the main console, watching as the countdown began. Krallis appeared on the screen one last time, his expression resolute. This is it. Once the signal goes out, there is no turning back. Alan nodded. Thank you, Krallis, for everything. As the timer hit 0, the facility hummed with energy as the message launched into space. Images of Earth's beauty, recordings of human voices expressing hope and goodwill, and explanations of the dinner incident streamed outward, carried by the amplified signal. For several tense minutes, there was nothing but silence. Then, unexpectedly, the screen lit up again. This time, it wasn't Krallis, it was Zixer. His tone was harsh, but there was a flicker of doubt in his eyes. What is the meaning of this? Before Alan could respond, another voice cut in, this one softer, more curious. It belonged to a different Vryn, one who hadn't been part of the original delegation. Commander, look at these images. Listen to their words. Could it be possible that we misjudged them? Zixer's gaze shifted, uncertainty creeping into his demeanor. He turned back to the screen, addressing Alan directly. You claim to seek peace. Prove it. Alan straightened, meeting the alien leader's gaze without flinching. We've already taken the first step. Now it's your turn. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, slowly, Zixer nodded. Very well. We will investigate further. But know this, if you betray our trust, there will be no second chances. As the transmission ended, the team exhaled collectively, relief washing over them. They weren't out of danger yet, but they had bought themselves a chance. A slim one, but enough to keep hope alive. Mike broke the silence with a weak laugh. Well, that was intense. Who knew diplomacy could be such a roller coaster? Lisa smiled faintly. Let's just hope it works. Alan stared at the darkened screen, his mind racing. It has to. Hours turned into days as the Vryn ship lingered in orbit, its presence casting a shadow of uncertainty over Earth. Inside the research facility, the team tried to stay busy, but the tension was palpable. Alan spent most of his time monitoring communications, hoping for any sign that their follow-up message had been received. Lisa worked on refining their explanation, adding more visuals, and simplifying the language further. Mike, ever the pessimist, muttered under his breath about how they were wasting their time. They're not going to listen, he said one evening as he slouched in a chair, flipping through outdated reports. You saw how suspicious they were. They're probably planning something big right now. Lisa shot him an irritated glance. If you're so sure it's hopeless, why are you still here? Because someone has to be ready when everything goes sideways, Mike replied with a shrug. Call me the designated panic button. Despite his cynicism, Mike stuck around, helping where he could. Even he couldn't deny that the situation was unlike anything they'd ever faced. The stakes were too high to walk away. Then, late one night, the alarms blared again. This time, the transmission came not from the Vryn leadership but from a lower-ranking officer aboard the ship. The screen flickered to life, revealing Krallis, the young Vryn who had seemed particularly intrigued during the dinner. His posture was hesitant, almost furtive, as though he feared being caught. Humans, Krallis began, his voice quieter than Zixer's had been. I must speak carefully. My superiors believe your actions were hostile, but I do not agree. Your invitation, it felt genuine. Humans, Zixer began, his tone cold and measured. Your invitation was accepted in good faith, yet your actions raise questions. Some of my crew have reported adverse reactions to your food. Explain yourselves. Lisa stepped forward, her hands clasped tightly together. Commander, I assure you, we meant no harm. Our goal was to share our culture and show hospitality. If any of your crew experienced discomfort, it was unintentional. We can provide remedies if needed. Zixer's antennae twitched slightly, betraying a flicker of doubt. Remedies? You expect us to trust you further after this incident? Atlan interjected calmly. We understand your concerns, Commander. But consider this. If we intended harm, why would we invite you here openly? Why go to such lengths to create a welcoming environment? The room fell silent as Zixer processed his words. After a long pause, he replied, Your logic is sound, yet caution is necessary. We will return to our homeworld to deliberate. Until then, avoid further attempts to contact us. Before Alan or Lisa could respond, the transmission ended abruptly, leaving the screen blank. The weight of the situation settled heavily over the team. Well, Mike muttered, breaking the silence, that went worse than expected. Lisa sank into a chair, frustration etched on her face. They think we poisoned them. How do we fix this? Alan paced the room, deep in thought. We need to prove our sincerity. Maybe we can send another message, explaining the science behind human cuisine and offering solutions for whatever effects they're feeling. Mike shook his head. And risk making things worse. Face it, Alan, we might have just declared war without even realizing it. But Lisa refused to give up. There has to be a way. We came so close to connecting with them. If we don't try again, all of this will have been for nothing. Ellen stopped pacing and looked at her, determination slowly replacing his worry. You're right. We can't give up now. Let's gather everything we know about their biology and draft a new message. We'll include data, visuals, anything that might help them understand we're not a threat. For the next several hours, the team worked tirelessly, compiling information and crafting a detailed explanation. They included diagrams of human digestion, chemical breakdowns of common foods, and assurances that the effects would fade naturally. By dawn, they had created a comprehensive package designed to ease the Vrin's fears. When the message was finally sent, none of them knew whether it would make a difference. As the sun rose over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Alan gazed out the window, lost in thought. We've done all we can, he said quietly. Now we wait. Lisa joined him, her arms crossed against the morning chill. Do you think they'll listen? I hope so, Alan replied. Because if they don't, we may never get another chance. Unbeknownst to them, aboard the Vrin ship, Krellis, a junior officer who had secretly enjoyed the dinner, was already considering ways to bridge the growing divide between their species. The alien delegation had barely returned to their ship when murmurs of unease began spreading among them. Inside the scout vessel, the Vrin gathered in a circular chamber illuminated by soft, pulsating lights. Their leader, Commander Zixer, stood at the center, his multiple eyes scanning the group. The atmosphere was tense, filled with low clicks and hums as the ambassadors exchanged opinions about the strange meal they had just experienced. This dinner, it was unlike anything we've encountered, one of the ambassadors said, its voice crackling through the translator device. Their behavior seemed friendly, but their food, unpredictable. Another nodded sharply. That sweet substance they served, it caused unusual sensations. My neural pathways still feel disrupted. Zixer raised a claw-like hand to silence the growing chatter. We must determine their true intentions. Was this an act of goodwill or something more sinister? Humans are known for their cunning. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Alan, Lisa, and Mike were reviewing footage of the event in the research facility's main lab. They replayed moments from the dinner, analyzing every interaction. Lisa paused the video on a clip of the Vrin ambassador tasting the pie filling. They didn't seem offended, she said hopefully. If anything, it looked like they were intrigued. Mike snorted. Intrigued. Or plotting revenge. You dropped dessert on their feet, Lisa. That's not exactly diplomatic. Alen rubbed his temples, trying to stay optimistic. Let's not jump to conclusions. We won't know how they interpreted things until we hear back from them, or see what they do next. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the facility. The team rushed to the monitoring station, where blinking red lights signaled an incoming transmission from the Vryn ship. Alan quickly patched it through, and Zixer's face appeared on the screen, his expression unreadable. One of the Vryn, clearly the leader, moved closer, its head tilting slightly as though studying Alan. Through a translator device strapped to its chest, a voice crackled to life. "Greetings, humans. We accept your invitation." Lisa smiled nervously and gestured toward the table. "Please, join us. We've prepared a meal to share." The Vryn exchanged glances, or whatever passed for glances among beings with compound eyes, and cautiously approached the setup. They inspected the chairs, which had been specially designed to accommodate their unique physiology, before settling down awkwardly. Their movements were slow and deliberate, betraying a mix of caution and intrigue. As the humans began serving dishes, the tension in the air was palpable. Alan started with a simple explanation of each item. Sushi rolls, roasted vegetables, grilled chicken, and fresh fruit. He pointed to a bowl of steaming soup and said, "This is called chili stew. It's very popular on Earth." Mike smirked behind Alan's back and whispered to Lisa, "Let's hope it doesn't blow them away." Literally. To everyone's relief, the Vryn sampled the food hesitantly at first, using small tools provided for them. Some reactions were immediate, a flicker of antennae or a subtle shift in posture, but most remained unreadable. One ambassador picked up a piece of fruit, examined it closely, and then popped it into its mouth. After chewing thoughtfully, it made a sound that might have been approval or confusion. Things seemed to be going smoothly until disaster struck. As Lisa carried out a freshly baked pie intended for dessert, one of the Vryn accidentally backed into her path. The pie slipped from her grasp and landed with a splat directly beneath the feet of another ambassador. For a moment, time froze. The Vryn stared at the ruined dessert, its expression impossible to decipher. "Oh no," Lisa muttered, mortified. She hurried forward, stammering an apology. "I'm so sorry. That was, dessert. It's sweet, not dangerous. I promise." The Vryn ambassador leaned down, examining the mess curiously. Then, without warning, it scooped up a bit of the filling with one claw and tasted it. Its reaction was immediate. It recoiled slightly, antennae quivering, before letting out a series of clicks that echoed through the clearing. Mike groaned softly. "Great. Now they think we're trying to poison them." But to everyone's surprise, the ambassador didn't seem angry. Instead, it clicked again, louder this time, and several of its companions joined in. Was it laughter? Approval? No one could tell for sure, but the tension eased slightly. Despite the mishap, the meal continued. By the end of it, the Vryn appeared less wary, though still cautious. As they prepared to leave, their leader addressed Alan once more. "Your hospitality is noted. We will consider this encounter." As the ship ascended back into the sky, Alan turned to his team, exhaustion evident on his face. "Well," he said with a sigh, "that could have gone worse." Lisa grinned weakly. "Next time, maybe skip the pie." Mike chuckled, shaking his head. "Yeah, because nothing says peaceful intentions like dropping dessert on an alien dignitary." Though none of them realized it yet, the dinner had planted seeds of curiosity and uncertainty that would soon grow into something far greater. The days leading up to the alien visit were a whirlwind of activity at the research facility. Dr. Alan Carter and his team worked around the clock, ensuring every detail was perfect for their otherworldly guests. Lisa Bennett spent hours researching potential dietary needs of the aliens, cross-referencing data from the scout ship's transmissions with theories about extraterrestrial biology. Mike Ross, ever the skeptic, kept cracking jokes but pitched in where he could, helping set up tables and testing equipment. "They're not going to eat anything we serve anyway," Mike said one afternoon as he adjusted a projector meant to display Earth's landscapes during dinner. "They'll probably just sniff it and leave." Lisa rolled her eyes. "You don't know that." Maybe they'll love it. Have some faith, Mike. Ellen walked over, holding a clipboard filled with notes. Even if they don't eat much, this isn't just about food. It's about showing them we're peaceful. Every gesture counts. As the sun rose on the day of the meeting, the team gathered outside the facility. A large clearing had been prepared for the event, complete with a long table draped in white cloth, chairs spaced evenly apart, and holographic displays ready to project images of Earth's wonders. The air buzzed with nervous energy as everyone took their positions. At precisely noon, the sky darkened slightly as the alien scout ship descended gracefully into view. Its metallic surface gleamed under the sunlight, and a low hum filled the air as it hovered above the ground. Slowly, a ramp extended downward, and the first of the Vryn stepped out. The creatures were unlike anything the humans had imagined. Towering at nearly 10 feet tall, their insectoid bodies shimmered with iridescent hues. Their elongated limbs ended in delicate, claw-like appendages, and multiple eyes blinked rapidly as they scanned their surroundings. Despite their imposing appearance, there was an undeniable curiosity in their movements. Ellen stepped forward, raising a hand in what he hoped was a universal sign of peace. "Welcome," he said slowly, enunciating each word carefully. "We are honored to have you here." The night sky shimmered with countless stars, their light stretching across the vast emptiness of space. Somewhere in that infinite expanse, a small alien scout ship hovered just outside Earth's orbit. Its sleek metallic surface glinted faintly as it rotated slowly, scanning the planet below. Inside the ship, Commander Sixer stood at the helm, his 6 eyes fixed on the glowing screens before him. The data streaming in painted a picture of humanity, a species both primitive and advanced, chaotic yet creative. It was fascinating, but also confusing. Sixer turned to his second-in-command, Vrilt, who was adjusting some controls nearby. "What do you make of them?" he asked, his voice low and raspy through the translator device embedded in his throat. Vrilt hesitated for a moment, his antennae twitching slightly. "They seem unpredictable. Their technology is impressive, but they fight among themselves constantly. I don't understand why they haven't destroyed their own world yet." Sixer nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps that unpredictability is what makes them dangerous, or perhaps it's what makes them worth studying. He tapped one of the screens, zooming in on an image of a bustling city filled with towering buildings, moving vehicles, and crowds of people. "We must learn more before we proceed." Meanwhile, thousands of miles below, deep within the forests of northern Canada, a team of scientists worked tirelessly inside a secluded research facility. Dr. Alan Carter, a middle-aged man with graying hair and glasses perched on his nose, leaned over a computer terminal, analyzing the latest readings from their satellite array. Beside him stood Lisa Bennett, a young woman with sharp features and boundless energy. She sipped coffee from a mug labeled "World's Okayest Scientist" while typing furiously on her keyboard. "Alan, look at this," Lisa said suddenly, pointing to a spike in the signal graph. "Something's out there. It's not natural. It's artificial." Alan squinted at the screen, then grabbed a notebook and scribbled down calculations. After a few moments, he looked up, his face pale. "You're right. That's no asteroid or random interference. Whatever it is, it's big. And it's watching us." Just then, Mike Ross, another scientist on the team, burst into the room holding a printout. "Guys, check this out. The object in orbit, it's sent a transmission. It's encoded, but we managed to decipher part of it. Looks like they're trying to communicate." Lisa snatched the paper from Mike's hand and scanned it quickly. Her eyes widened. "It says something about observing Earth. They've been studying us." Alan rubbed his temples, thinking hard. "If they're watching us, maybe we should try talking back. Show them we're not hostile." He glanced at Lisa, whose expression mirrored his determination. "Let's send an invitation." Mike raised an eyebrow. "An invitation? For what?" "For dinner," Alan replied simply. Lisa grinned. Think about it. What better way to show goodwill than sharing a meal? We can introduce them to human culture through food. Mike chuckled nervously. Are we sure this isn't going to end with them dissecting us instead? Ignoring his comment, Alan began drafting a message. Together, the team crafted a simple yet warm invitation. Greetings, travelers from afar. Welcome to our home, Earth. Please join us for dinner so we may share stories and friendship. Once the message was ready, they transmitted it into space, aiming directly at the mysterious object in orbit. For hours, the facility buzzed with anticipation. Would the aliens respond? Would they even understand? Finally, late into the night, the answer came. A reply flashed across their monitors, written in halting but clear English. Your invitation has been received. We will attend. Alan let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Lisa clapped her hands excitedly, already brainstorming menu ideas. Mike muttered something about keeping the dessert options non-lethal. As dawn broke over the horizon, the team got to work preparing for the most unusual dinner party in human history. Little did they know, their decision would set off a chain of events that would change the fate of two species forever.